The scare over our nation's capital. Fighter jets scrambled when a plane flew through restricted airspace. Sonic boom rattled the Washington, D.C. area, briefly put the White House and the Capitol on alert. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz is in Washington with the latest. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George. It was an unsettling, frightening moment for thousands here in Washington, hearing that very loud boom with fighter jets scrambling into the skies before a tragic ending.
A sonic boom heard across the nation's capital and neighborhoods beyond, rattling homes and rattling nerves.
It was very jarring.
We thought it was probably an earthquake.
The city on alert as a small civilian jet, a Cessna Citation, flew through restricted airspace, the pilot failing to respond to air traffic control. The U.S. military quickly launching 6 F-16 fighter jets from 3 bases to track the plane as it headed south into Virginia. The 2 F-16s over Washington reaching supersonic speed to catch up with the Cessna jet, creating that sonic boom that reverberated across the region. Within minutes, the Cessna jet was spotted at 34,000 feet over a remote area in southwest Virginia. The pilot still unresponsive. The fighter jets firing flares to try to alert the civilian pilot, but to no avail. The pilot appearing to be passed out. The plane likely out of fuel, taking a dive and crashing 10 minutes after the fighter jets intercepted it. Some aviation experts speculating that hypoxia, the lack of oxygen, may have incapacitated the pilot and passengers.
One of an aircraft that has crashed with a total of 4 passengers.
According to the FAA, the Cessna jet, with those 4 on board, took off from an airport in northeast Tennessee, bound for MacArthur Airport on New York's Long Island. The flight path showing the plane reaching Long Island, but instead of landing, turning around, likely on autopilot, heading south before crashing in Virginia.
The New York Times spoke with the man who runs the company that owns the civilian jet. John Rumpel said tragically that in addition to the pilot, his daughter, his 2-year-old granddaughter, and her nanny were aboard the plane. George?
Yeah, that is so sad. Okay, Martha, thanks. Let's bring in our aviation expert, Stephen Ganyard. And Stephen, start out by telling everybody what the standard is for scrambling these fighter jets.
Yeah, George, the actual standards are classified, but there is a good bit of judgment involved. Remember that the North American Air Defense Command out in Colorado Springs has responsibility for all of the U.S. and Canada. So they're monitoring all these flights. And it's actually not unusual to lose communications with various flights around the perimeter of the U.S. and Canada. So they have to think about what is the intent. In this case, the aircraft was at 34,000 feet. It stayed at 34,000 feet, and it stayed on a constant heading. So it didn't seem like it was a big threat. They did put the Capitol and the White House on alert, but they didn't shoot it down precisely because they saw that it was not going to be a threat to the Capitol.
And it appears that everyone on board may have been unconscious because of this hypoxia. What causes that?
Yeah, it's frankly just a lack of oxygen, George. If you know when you take off in an airplane, you hear your ears pop because the pressurization on an airplane does just that. It compresses the air in the cabin to make sure that there's enough oxygen so that you can survive and go about your business normally on an airplane. Sometimes that pressurization may fail. It can fail slowly, like if it fails to pressurize on the climb, or it can be catastrophic. But it does seem that in this case, that hypoxia probably caused by the loss of pressurization in this 33-year-old airplane was the cause of this tragic mishap.
So that means there was no way to land that plane safely for the fighter pilots to help that land safely.
No, anytime the F-16s are responsible for air defense, they'll go up and they'll take a look. Sometimes it's just a matter of losing radio communication, but once everybody's incapacitated, there's really nothing that can be done.
Stephen Ganyard, thanks very much. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.